Thanks for tuning in to our partner webinar brought to you by the National Association of Nutrition Professionals. This webinar is part of our NANP's partnership program, bringing you the latest information, education, products, and services from the holistic nutrition and wellness space. These webinars are recorded from a live event with a Q&A session for the attending audience. We hope you find this information useful and consider including our partners and their offerings in your life.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar featuring FDN with Lori Valentine Rose. I am your host, Tiffany Perry, Development Specialist for the NANP. These webinars are recorded and can be viewed by registrants later in the week, and we'll go ahead and send you a link to the recording later on. Today we present 2 new CE courses by FDN, Foundations of Herbalism and Weight Loss the Healthy Way. Lori is a board-certified holistic clinical nutritionist, herbalist, wellness coach, and functional diagnostic nutrition professional. She founded the only triple board-approved college program that trains students in all 3 of these modalities for a truly integrated approach to wellness. She creates easy-to-understand science-backed training courses for FDNP. And today she's going to have 2 different segments. And if you have questions, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A section, and she'll answer those questions at the end of each of the segments that she's doing. Welcome, Lori. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Yay, thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be here. So all of you, I have been through an NANP school. I'm NANP certified, and I need NANP CECs every year. And so I'm excited to bring these new opportunities to you, both as an educator, but also as a board certified NANP member myself. So I'm going to talk about 2 courses. Like Tiffany said, I'll talk about the first one and then let you all ask questions about it. And then I'll talk about the second one and let you all ask questions about that. So first of all, for those of you who have heard of FDN, I wanted to compare and contrast FDN, the course itself, versus our advanced courses through FDN, because that can get confusing, right? FDN is functional diagnostic nutrition, and it's a full 6-month certification training program. It's very amazing, and it's over 5 different labs, and it trains you how to use those labs on your clients and how to create cases around those labs. So it's very time intensive and money intensive, but totally worth it. And it's also approved as an NANP CEC. But because of the time and money intensity of it, that can create sort of a barrier. So something FDN wanted to do is bring our advanced courses to NANP members as continuing education. So FDN also creates advanced courses, and these are targeted single subject courses that are much lower price points and much lower time demand. And I create a lot of these courses, and we thought it would be really beneficial to provide more opportunities for continuing education for NANP members by making these advanced courses available to you. So my goal right now over the next few years is to get all of our advanced courses approved. And the courses I'm talking about today are the first 2 of our advanced courses that we've submitted and gotten approved. So super duper exciting. A question I frequently get is, do you have to have completed the full FDN program before you take the FDN advanced courses? And the answer is no. The FDN advanced courses are for everyone. So whether or not you plan to sit for FDN now or in the future as NANP CECs, and also as just part of your practitioner training in your toolkit as a nutritionist, you can take any of the FDN advanced courses as they start to get approved by NANP. You can take them before they get approved by NANP, but then they won't count as your NANP CECs. So you can just wait, and as we roll these out for you, you can take them as they get approved, if that's what you want to do. So that's the difference between FDN, the full course, and then FDN, our individual advanced courses. So I know the protocol for webinars is to give away like the bonuses and stuff at the end of the webinar, but also being an NANP member, I know some of you are here on your lunch break. I know that you are very busy. So if you already know you're interested in these courses, here's the link for these courses. You can go read all about them. Here's how many CECs they're worth. And for you all here today watching this webinar or the webinar recording, you can get the code at the bottom, NAMP25, and get 25% off one or both of these courses through July 11th. So I just wanted to throw that out there at the beginning. I'm going to remind you again at the end, but just know these courses do have 25% off just for you all until July 11th. So let's talk about these courses and why you would want to take them other than just their amazing CECs for your continuing ed. So I'm going to start with Weight Loss the Healthy Way. Weight Loss the Healthy Way is a course I created. It has 4 lessons. It's only 3 hours. So again, that time commitment is pretty low. And then there's 2-hour bonus live Q&A recordings that are in the course when you sign up for it. And those are just there if you want to listen to them or not. It's worth 3 NANP CECs. So I know we all learn about weight management in our NANP program, like in our required education. But this Weight Loss the Healthy Way course goes above and beyond that. And what it does is it really investigates the current science around weight loss, weight management, and it goes over some sort of changes in paradigm that are happening in the holistic field around weight management. And so the course starts off by investigating the science around the problems with CICO, which is calories in, calories out, right? It's the modern weight loss paradigm. You reduce calories in, increase calories out. You use the BMI for your goal weight. And then any weight loss is assumed to be healthy weight loss. And that's the strategy that we follow with our clients. However, I'm sure many of you have either personally experienced or experienced with your clients that CICO doesn't always work. And there are some inherent problems with CICO. For example, not all calories in are metabolically healthy. So you can't just say blind calories in, right? Like you can't just eat 1,200 calories worth of Cheetos. That's very different from 1,200 calories worth of protein and veggies that are supporting our organ systems, like we all learned at our NANP schools. And not all calories out are metabolically healthy. You can't just cardio yourself to death without having some consequences. And along those lines, not all weight loss is healthy weight loss. So most weight loss programs just have you step on a scale and ignore where the weight's coming from, whether it's coming from healthy skeletal muscle loss, which is, spoiler alert, what most weight loss programs actually lose is that really healthy skeletal muscle. And when it does lose fat, not all fat is metabolically unhealthy. There's a stopping point we want to help our clients get to and not go beyond. Well, I'm going to skip this one actually, because when we do go beyond that point, or when we are not having the most body supportive calories in, most body supportive exercise for calories out, there are very common weight loss side effects that are in the science that people experience, people know, and we just ignore and don't talk about. And I really feel like that needs to change, right? Like we practice holistic nutrition, and it doesn't sound very holistic if we're running programs that are decreasing our clients' lean muscle mass, or decreasing the number and efficiency of mitochondria in the body, or decreasing thyroid function, decreasing immune function. And all of these things are actually predictable consequences of most weight loss programs. So that's really what we're trying to avoid, right? And that's what Weight Loss the Healthy Way as a course trains you to avoid. So just some slides from the course to go over some of the science. I'm not just throwing a bunch of hooey at you. There are so many systemic reviews showing that restricting calories, meaning CICO, balancing calories in with calories out, actually caused greater weight gain as opposed to programs that didn't restrict calories at all. They also show that when there was a weight change, that weight change wasn't actually correlated with health benefits. So yes, the number on the scale may have gone down, but their health didn't actually improve for the reasons that I just mentioned to you: loss of skeletal muscle, loss of mitochondria, loss of thyroid, immune, and there's so many more. I'm just throwing some highlights at you right now, trying to make sure I don't talk too much and give you all time to ask questions. But the consequences of weight loss that are predictably negative come from the food side of it, because we think we can just eat whatever we want as long as we stay under a certain amount of calories, or we calorie cut too much or calorie cut too long. But it also comes from the exercise part of it. And so we do the wrong exercise for our bodies, or the exercises we do, we overdo it. And so there's a lot of predictable damage that comes from weight loss programs, like heart damage, joint injury, and even mental emotional damage, depression, mood, circadian rhythm dysfunction, and of course, the sort of concomitant occurrence of body dysmorphia and body image issues that comes from just constantly focusing on weight as a metric of health. So examples of this disordered eating, of course, is under eating, over exercising, using certain stimulants, or even smoking to reduce appetite, extreme restriction. And all of these things are pretty much predictable for people in most weight loss programs. So my goal with the Weight Loss the Healthy Way course is to know how to create that sort of mind shift in our clients that shifts them away from these strategies that have been used for decades in weight loss protocols and shift them towards health supportive body management programs, as opposed to things that hurt them, because that goes against what our goal is as holistic practitioners. In fact, there are multiple studies that argue that calorie restriction weight loss programs are unethical, that it's unethical not to give a disclaimer about potential harm from calorie restriction. Some even go as far as to say insurance shouldn't cover calories in, calories out weight loss programs, both because of the danger of them and the lack of benefit of them. So we want to make sure we're minimizing damage with our clients and actually helping them, right? We want our programs to work and we want them to not cause harm. And both of those things are not occurring in the majority of weight loss programs. And so so that's the first lesson in the course, like really getting into the science behind all of that. And then the second lesson in the course is all about how to have a weight loss program that does focus on health first and helps people lose weight the healthy way. And it's a sort of change of order of priorities than what we usually experience in weight loss programs. So we want to make sure all of the organ systems in the body are supported first and foremost and are not compromised in any weight loss program we give with our clients. And I go over all of the strategies, how to do that, both with eating the right way, moving the right way, and several other health supportive strategies that are crucial for long-term, actually beneficial and successful weight management, which I'll talk about on the next slide. And then only then, when the body's being supported, do we talk about tweaks and kind of tricks for strategies for losing the right weight, not skeletal muscle, but that excess body fat, right? So I really should call this fat loss the healthy way as opposed to weight loss the healthy way, because another mind shift we want our clients to have is just the blind stepping on the scale, because you don't know, are you losing water? Are you using muscle? You want all of those things. We really want to make sure our programs are targeting harmful body mass composition as opposed to the helpful body mass composition. And then I also teach you strategies on using labs and other markers to make sure our clients are stopping our weight loss program before it becomes harmful, before the thyroid is shutting down or the mitochondria are decreasing or the immune system is being compromised. etc. So I mentioned it's not just about diet and exercise when it comes to weight loss, successful weight loss, long-term weight loss, healthy weight loss, even though diet and exercise are really like all SECO focuses on, which is another problem with the SECO paradigm. And so another thing I cover in this lesson, the second lesson, are how to manage internal and external stressors that release cortisol and shut down the thyroid and stop and hinder healthy weight loss. And then the other leg, so I think of it as a three-legged stool, and without all of the legs, you're not going to have that successful, healthy, sustainable weight loss. So you do have diet and exercise, and I talk about all of those strategies, but you also have to consider internal and external stressors, as well as supporting the mitochondria, making sure you are prioritizing circadian rhythm and sleep, which most people just completely ignore or haven't been trained on. And I focus heavily on strategies for supporting those systems, talk about why. I talk about the connection to how those are crucial for weight loss, so you can help educate your clients and let them know why you're telling them to go outside in the sun 15 minutes a day instead of stepping on the scale 15 times a day, right? Because they need to buy into how this is going to help them. So you get all the education, all the science, all the training, and all the strategies. And then the third lesson of the course, which comes after all of those health supporting strategies, because remember, we're doing health first and then hacks second. So we're changing the order, right? That's a mind shift we want our clients to get. So I go over tons of hacks. This is just a few of them, but it deals with meal timing and even temperature and light therapies, adjusting nutrients and exercises for the person, because every person needs or benefits from different types of nutrients, different types of exercises. And we go over a few supplements that are helpful for weight management. And then I end with best practices. So this is lesson 4. Really common yet difficult thing that I see most clients do is wanting to go from nothing to everything all at once. And then they're not successful because that's mismanaged expectations, and then they quit. And so for 3 different categories, both food, exercise, and internal and external stressors, I provide a step-by-step bulleted list process for you to use with your clients that you can print and modify, turn into handouts or turn into checklists or quizzes or whatever, right? Goal setting sheets with your clients to move them in baby steps, successful baby steps from the nothing, right? The sedentary standard American diet, not a whole lot of stress management, towards healthy behaviors in all of those categories. So these handouts are really the practical, like rubber to the road, how do I actually implement this with my clients part of the course. The first 3 sections are more education, and then the last section is, okay, now you have a client, what do you do? What can you expect? So again, this is a course that will take you a couple hours, right? You can finish this definitely in 1 week. It's worth 3 NANP CECs. You can find it here at this link, or the link is also on the NANP website under the CEC section, and you get 25% off through July 11th. And so using the code NANP25. So I'll leave this screen up and then go to Tiffany to see if you all have any questions about this before I move on to talk about the second course.
Let's see, I am checking the Q&A box right now, and we currently do not have any open questions. You've been very thorough, so that's great.
Thanks.
But
Also,
please feel free to drop your questions in here as they come up.
Yeah, awesome. All right, and I'm switching screens too, so that'll give you all time to type things. If you're out there typing in the internet world.
Yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box here. Oh, here we go. We got one.
Yay!
Do you cover clients with GLP-1?
So I mentioned GLP-1 in the presentation. It's definitely not the main thing I focus on, but I do talk about foods and supplements that support the natural GLP-1 process in the body. Also, In the 2 bonus Q&As that are in the course, we talk about GLP-1 a lot, and most of them are FDN students who have worked with clients. So they talk a lot about what they're seeing with labs in GLP-1 clients, how to help clients on GLP-1 medications, etc. So it's discussed either within the program or in those bonus Q&As. I will say though that if that's your main focus, that's definitely not the main focus of the course, but I do touch on it.
And I think that's it for right now.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so first of all, before I get into the nitty gritty of this herbalism course, I wanted to preface by saying I mentioned FDN has dozens of advanced courses, and our goal is to get all of them approved by the NANP over time. The reason I started with these 2 courses, Weight Loss the Healthy Way and this herbalism course I'm about to mention to you all, is because those are the courses that I thought would provide the most gaps in our training as NANP members. I think it's so crucial to have a healthy mindset shift when it comes to weight loss. And so that was my number 1 priority. And then with herbalism, I know we all learn 50 plus herbs in our NANP programs. And even in the holistic field, like naturopaths learn about herbs, etc. But we tend to learn about herbs in a bottle, right, as supplements, as opposed to herbs as food or herbs as whole plants. And I don't know if you heard Tiffany mention it, but I teach a college program that merges both holistic nutrition, so NANP, coaching, which you'll hear a little bit of in the weight loss course if you decide to take it, and then also clinical herbalism. So I had this training in clinical herbalism that kind of gave me a different viewpoint of how approaching herbs from a whole herb way, like we approach foods from a whole food way, really makes huge shifts with our client success when we use herbs as whole herbs as opposed to herbs in a bottle. And I'm not saying there's never a place for herbs in a bottle and that herbs in a bottle don't help people. That's not what I'm saying. But getting this additional continuing education on how to really use whole herbs with clients and how to match those herbs both to our clients as people, but also to their anatomy and physiology of their presentations, it makes a huge difference. And so I thought this would be a big heavy hitter for people to start with as an FDN advanced course. So the herbalism course is a bit longer than the weight loss course because this herbalism course really takes everything that I know in my head about a clinical herbalist and puts it into one course. It is extremely thorough. I'm about to show you like tons of bullet points on what you learn in this course. Unless you want to become like a board certified clinical herbalist, this is probably the only herbal course you'll need to take. That's how thorough it is. It's 10 lessons. It's over 8 hours. Plus some time if you want to do the DIYs, and it's worth 10 NANP CECs. Also, if you think you might want to become a clinical herbalist, but you're like, I don't know if I want to dive right into a college program because I'm on the fence, this course is a great place to start for you to be like, oh yeah, I totally dig this and I want to take it further. But if you're like, I definitely know I don't want to go that much further, but I do want to know how to use herbs the most powerful way with my clients, this is a wonderful course for you. So whole herb herbalism is really based for me as the paradigm I use as an herbal instructor by this quote from Hippocrates that it's better to know the person that has a disease as opposed to what disease name a person has. Because in general, basic herbal training, it's, oh, you have diabetes, what herb is good for that? Oh, you have high blood pressure, what herb is good for that? Oh, you have kidney issues, what herb is good for that? And then we get this list of 30 herbs good for this disease or 30 herbs good for this disease, and we just grab bag it and we don't know how to match the herb to the person, right? But one person with diabetes who has a totally different personality, a different presentation, a different manifestation, will need different herbs than someone else with the same disease name, but that's presenting a different way, manifests a different way, and has a different showing upness in the world, right? And in herbalism, we call that constitution. And so one of the main goals of the course is to learn how to assess a person and match herbs to them as opposed to focusing on a disease name, which really that's what holistic practitioner practicing is all about, right? And so it takes herbalism from supplement bottle herbalism to holistic herbalism. So in this training, you not only learn how to match herbs to the client, you learn how to use herbs safely, you learn about herbal dosing, herbal research, you learn herbal formulation, you learn every single organ system and how to match an herb to that organ system for different manifestations of that organ system. I teach you how to use the taste of herbs and how that taste teaches you the biochemistry of the phytonutrient. So does this taste mean it has bitters, or it has alkaloids, or it has saponins, or it has polysaccharides? And what do those things do? You learn how to make all of the different herbal medicines, from tinctures to syrups to vinegars to powders. Like, everything in my head as a clinical herbalist is in this program. It's 290 slides. And I really think if you even have a small interest in using herbs with your clients, this is a must-have. So I mentioned there's 10 parts. So part 1 through 2 is really about traditional, sort of the holistic whole plant herbalism, and knowing how to use that thought process to not just think, oh, there's 30 herbs that are good for the heart. Oh, there's 30 herbs that are good for the nervous system. And instead, know how to sort through all of those different options and match that herb to the client. Then we go through all the different herbal tastes, all the different herbal biochemistry, and all the different herbal medicine making techniques part by part. So we split it up, learn about each state, each phytonutrient, each medicine making technique, and learn how you can match that to different physiologies and anatomies of the body. And then you end with creating formulas and having mock clients that you assess yourself, create protocols for them, and then there's an answer key or a sort of comparison key for you to see how your formula matched up to that thought process. I'm wondering how detailed I should go in this. I often get a question like, what does energetic-based herbal formulas mean? And that can be elusive and woo-woo, but it's really not. It's a lot more simple than what it sounds. Essentially, energetics are like hot or dry. So essentially, there's 3 different scales. There's hot and cold, and those show up different ways in the organ systems. Then there's damp and dry, and those show up different ways in the organ systems. And then there's tense and lax. So you can imagine like super tense muscles versus super lax muscles that need tightening and toning. You can imagine a super overheated, sped up digestive system that's just having hyperfunction, loose stools nonstop, right? That's a hot, overworking condition versus a cold digestive system that's digesting slowly. So this could show up as constipation. Those are just examples. And then damp and dry. And so every organ system has energetic manifestations along those 3 axes, right? That's really all we talk about: hot, cold, damp, dry, tense, lax. But also so do herbs. And so if you imagine an herb like cayenne, you can immediately tell me if that's a hot or a cold herb, right? Versus if you imagine an herb like aloe gel, you can immediately tell me if that's hot or cold, or damp or dry, right? And so we go through the course talking about herbs in that way, and knowing that if someone has a hot and dry manifestation, symptomology in their anatomy and physiology, you're going to want to cool that and moisten that. So you find cooling, moistening, and herbs to balance it. And that's really what this training parts 3 through 8 helps you learn and visualize and think through. Oh, they're having this set of symptomologies. Is that hot or dry? Is that cold or damp? Is that tense or lax? And then you learn about herbs from that same biochemistry energetic state. And that's how you take that 30 just like mix of herb sample size, like herbs for the brain, and know which one of those are going to be matched best to your client. And then I take you through how to know which sources are credible to create herbal formulas, how to find doses, how to do herbal safety, etc. So for example, you could see this would be like part 3, where you learn not only hot energetics, which could be a hot temper, all consuming, acute flare up, like a fever, a sharp pain, redness, it's hyper, overuse, excess. And then you would know that you need cooling herbs to balance that fire hot condition. And so I teach you, and these are just a few examples about, for example, bitters are cooling. And these are all of the things that bitters do to all of these different organ systems. Here's examples of those herbs. Here's how you research those herbs, etc. But also, demulcent herbs are cooling. And here's how demulcents affect organ systems. And here's some examples of demulcents and the anatomy they impact. And here's how you would choose between a cooling bitter versus a cooling demulcent for a hot health condition. And so it's very thorough and detailed, and it's applied through DIY herbal medicine making, so you can get to know these herbs yourself. Now, I will say, I'm skipping ahead, that the medicine making part is all optional, right? Like, you don't have to submit proof that you did the medicine making. You don't have to dive into the medicine making if you want, right? There are places out there to buy pre-made herbal syrups and powders and tinctures, etc. And you can totally go that route if you want. Or you can dive into these DIYs and learn how to do these DIYs yourself. You can even sell them to your clients, make them for yourselves. And so this is the optional part of the course. So the education is in there, and how deep you go with it is totally up to you. And then I mentioned I teach you to learn taste of herbs, meaning that's self-explanatory, right? What an herb tastes, feels, etc. And learn what that means about which phytoconstituents are in it, what those phytoconstituents do. For example, if an herb happens to be high in polysaccharides, that tends to be most adaptogens or demulcents. We talk about what those do. And then I teach you the best way to make medicine with those constituents, because alkaloids will be made better by, for example, a tincture, versus polysaccharides are made better by a powder or water. And so you really get into understanding the herbs at a much deeper biological level, as opposed to here, just take this supplement in a bottle. And that's why using herbs from a whole herb way tends to be more successful more quickly with clients. And I think I'm going to stop there, because I think if I showed you the formula making, I might overwhelm you. But here's just one example of example DIYs from the course. Each one of these underlined names is a link to a recipe that you have the option to make or the option to not make, but you do have these there for you. So again, this is like a resource book for your clients, right? Because some clients are going to get really excited about these and want to make them on their own, versus some clients may want to order them or just look up the recipes. And so not only do you have these as a resource for you, but you can hand all these out to your clients as well.
Hey, Lori, would you mind showing a couple of them in there? I had a comment in there
sure.
saying, no, show us, please.
Okay, so these, I do not think these link. Oh, there we go. They are active. Here, let's click on the fudge one, because that sounds exciting to me.
When you make the herbal honeys, do you have an alternative for vegans?
So I do, as opposed to having an alternative honey for vegans, which doesn't exist, you can just use powders instead of honeys, right? There's so many different ways you can use powdered herbs that there are options that vegans can use if they don't want to do the honeys.
Okay. And since we're speaking about foods, someone had asked previously about Does the weight loss course offer personalized diet plans based on specific individual needs?
In a way. So it talks about, for example, people in this category do better with these kind of nutrients and these kind of exercises versus people in this category do better with these kind of nutrients and these kind of exercises. So it's not individual, right? Because I don't have all that client information, but it does teach you how to customize to general categories that your clients are in.
Okay.
So here's an example of a lavender infused fudge, which most people don't realize that vanilla is also a super powerful, relaxing nervine herb. And then, of course, walnuts. We all know how wonderful that is for the brain. And so, what a fun way to get your herbs in, right? Let me go to another one. And this recipe slide, this is just one out of 8 sections, right? There's so many recipes. It's jam-packed full in this course. And so again, it's just one of the most thorough herbal courses you can learn. All of these things all in one place. Okay, it's not letting me scroll. There we go.
Or is there a link online where they could see them?
That's what this is.
Oh, I gotcha.
Ah, that's why there was a pop-up. So these links will teach you like a little bit about the herb, how to use the herb, and then of course the recipe. So there's so many herbs in this one recipe, and I've made this before. So it's like this whole herb form in a powder, mixing them all up, and then they're just so delicious. And so what a fun, nutritive way to get herbs in. And I guarantee you, if clients are having to take this instead of more and more capsules, they'll be more compliant.
Were we supposed to be able to see the recipe because we can't see it?
Oh, y'all can't see the recipes
No.
that I'm sharing? I showed you like 2 or 3. Maybe it's going to make me stop share. Here, I'll do it this way.
Okay.
Can y'all see that now?
Oh, I do.
Now you see the yummy thing I'm talking about.
Thanks, Colleen.
Sorry, y'all. So yeah, we call them herb balls, which, is very inspired naming. But it's got all the information about the herbs and then this huge formula of at least half a dozen herbs, whole herb form, in these herb powders rolled into a ball that are delicious, much more fun than taking capsules.
And it looks like they can be found at learningherbs.com.
Yeah, that's where this recipe is.
Okay.
And then did y'all see this fudge? Can you see this screen now?
Oh, I can see that. That looks
Okay, yeah, this was the first thing I was talking about with the lavender and the vanilla, and then this had walnuts in it. So imagine if your medicine looked like this as opposed to capsules. And again, that's just me. I'm a foodie and I like to eat my medicine, right? But some clients are going to want to do the supplements in the bottle. And so what this does is just create a more diverse offering and diverse toolkit for you to give to your clients. Because I'm sure you've all had clients where they're like, I don't want to take more supplements in a bottle. And so you can have all these recipes in this course to help improve compliance and make your protocols a little more fun. I'm just going to skip through. So again, you'll learn step-by-step instructions, if you want to, on how to make tinctures, teas, vinegars, and oxymels. You'll learn how to make herbal oils, herbal salves, honeys, and powders. So all the different herbal medicine making you can think of, that's part of the course. It's an optional part of the course that you can use or not. But those recipes are all in there for you. And then again, we end with formulation. And so I teach you how to both assess the anatomy and physiology of your client, match that to needed herbal actions, do safe and reliable research with safe and reliable herbalists. I talk about that a lot in the course, to then create an herbal formula matching the herbs to your clients, as opposed to just randomly grab bagging from a list of 100 herbs that are good for this disease name or this disease name. So again, just a reminder of everything that's in this herbal course and the link to it and the discount code for 25% off until July 11th. Again, this one's a little more time consuming than the weight loss one. And so it's worth about 3 times more CECs. It's worth 10. Something to know about both of these courses is if you buy them, you have lifetime access. And so you don't have to complete them with any certain amount of time. So you can buy them both now and then finish one now, finish one later, finish them both later, just whatever you want. If you do want to take advantage of that discount, you won't be able to complete them now.
And Lori, we
Great.
do have a question.
Sure.
Someone asked, I'm concerned about safe practices and labeling requirements when preparing something to sell to my clients.
Yeah.
Does your course include FDA and liabilities, what conditions I need in my kitchen, etc.?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I touch on that a tiny bit. Essentially, that's GMP, best management practices for the FDA, for businesses who sell herbal products as a business, like to strangers. But the FDA has put out a statement that they're not really regulating practitioner to client herbal sales, as opposed to if you got really inspired by this course and you're like, all I want to do is make herbal medicine and sell it on a website and sell it to people who I haven't done a one-on-one intake with, then you would need to go through extra training for GMP, FDA, labeling compliance, all of that stuff. But as far as you just making something for your client who you have done an intake with, and it's a sort of one-on-one thing, the FDA has said, we're not really gonna enforce our rules in that arena. But if you want to know training for that, then you can always just email me. I'll leave this up for a minute, but I do have contact info. So if you have questions about any of our advanced courses, that's this top one. If you want info about the full FDN program, I talked about at the beginning, the one with the high price point, the high time intensity, but it's also approved as an NANP CEC, you can email this. Or if you just have like random questions that relate to what we talked about today, hey, do you know a good herbal course that teaches GMP FDA compliance? If I wanted to do that, you can email me here.
I'm checking here to see if we have any more.
Sure.
Yeah, if anyone has any, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box.
And I'll hop back and forth between these. Like, for example, let's say you go to FDN's website and you click on our advanced courses and you're like, one that you would like us to get approved by NANP next. You're like, oh, I really want this one. You could email advanced courses and say, hey, I'm an NANP member. I would really like this course approved by NANP. Then they'll let me know and I could push that up in line in the process of us submitting all of these courses for approval. Because right now I'm just submitting them by what I think is important as a practitioner. But if I get y'all's feedback on that, then I'll have an order that supports y'all's needs and your desires as NANP members looking for CECs.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And just a reminder to everybody that this presentation can be viewed via the link that you'll receive by email later in the week. Because I know there was a lot of information that was covered. Lori did a great job going through it, but I know sometimes people want the website addresses and your contact information, so that will be included in this obviously as well.
Yeah, just to get y'all excited since we have time, since I know, so y'all aren't looking, are you looking at a picture of my PowerPoint or a picture of herbal fudge right now?
I see your PowerPoint with
Okay,
your
cool.
contact information.
That's actually helpful in this moment since I knew it. I'm going to bring up the list of all the FDN advanced courses so y'all can see what's coming in the future as well. And that'll give y'all time to ask more questions if you want. Once I get this brought up, then I'll switch my screen share.
Yeah, I think this would be a great topic for sure to discuss it. If you happen to be able to make our HealCon 2026, I could see a lot of people asking questions about these courses and everything that you offer because it's so in depth, but yet interesting and detailed at the same time.
Awesome. I would love to discuss that with you. So make sure and email me about that. All right. So you can see so far, we've got 2 of these courses I'm about to show you approved, but there's so many more. And there's one in the works. There's one pending that's currently being reviewed. But I'm just going to slowly go through these. So can y'all see the FDN advanced courses right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So here's the herbalism one I talked to you about. This is the one that's pending review right now. It's all about coaching and stress management strategies for clients, which again is another gap. I think like we're all told, hey, we need to reduce our stress or have your clients reduce their stress, but we don't really get step-by-step instructions on how to do that from the practical sense. And that's what this course is. And of course, you'll get an email from NANP if and when that's approved. There's the weight loss one I talked to y'all about today. But see, there's just so many.
Immune system health. Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
we're going to have for the fall for sure.
I love that one. But yeah, if y'all see these that you're interested in, like, hey, if this was approved by NANP, I would take it, right? This is a CEC I want, then we'll know what order just goes through the process. And again, just because we apply doesn't mean it's approved. So I'm not making promises that these are going to be available for y'all in the future, but then I can at least prioritize which ones I make available.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely appreciate that and you giving your contact information. So if anyone wants to reach back out, that's helpful. And
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
we did have a quick question. Someone asked if you could provide a quick summary of the thyroid course.
Okay, so I did not create the thyroid course. And so I'm trying to go way back in my memory because I do believe I've looked at it before. You know what? Probably the best. I don't want to lie to you or make stuff up. So I would email this top email address and ask them what's in the thyroid course. Also, the website I just showed you, if you click on each course, it summarizes each lesson and gives you bullet points and things that are covered. And so you can go get more information that way. So actually, why don't I just look at me, problem solving in the moment. Let's go click on the thyroid course. Here we go. So this level of detail is available for every advanced course. So you can go and read summary, course overview.
And this is not a current approved C class.
Correct. But I can make it the next one if I know people are interested in that.
Okay.
The next one I submit.
Yeah.
Then if you scroll down, it goes lesson by lesson. Oh, whoops. There we go. So it gives you details of what each lesson covers.
That's great information to have.
Do keep in mind, I just noticed something. So these talking about continuing ed credits, this relates to FDN. That doesn't mean this would be 3 NANP CECs. If and when courses are approved by NANP, we'll put the NANP CECs on here. So make sure you're looking at the right number for the organization that you're using this course for continuing ed.
Yes, if you're ever concerned or not sure about something, please feel free to reach out to Lori or even myself. And if I don't know the answer, I'll probably just refer you back to Lori. Well, Lori, thank you so much for joining us today. I don't see that we have any more questions in the Q&A. You've been so helpful with your answers and your presentation. Again, just a reminder, this presentation can be linked and viewed via the link that they'll get by email this week. I think this brings us to the end of our presentation today. We really appreciate you all joining us. Thank you so much, Lori.
Thank y'all for your time.
You have a great day.
Bye-bye.
The information presented in this webinar is for educational purposes only. Please note that holistic nutrition professionals do not diagnose, prevent, treat, cure, prescribe, manage, or heal diseases or medical conditions. They are also not licensed in any state and work with clients, not patients. There are no continuing education credits associated with this webinar.